Prada in hot water again. Kolhapuri and Punjabi Jutti gate explained. Outrage or inspiration? Where do we draw the line between honoring a culture and exploiting it for profit? Once again, the luxury fashion world is reeling with controversy, and Prada is smack dab at the center of the storm. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this a simple case of cultural appreciation gone wrong, or a clear pattern of disregard for origin? Let's dive in. Prada, the global fashion powerhouse, recently unveiled its men's Spring-Summer 2025 collection at the Deposito of the Fondazione Prada in Milan. The showcase stood out with its imaginative blend of futuristic silhouettes and whimsical style. Yet what truly captured worldwide attention, and not in a flattering way, were what appeared to be unmistakable Kolhapuri Chappals strutting down the runway. For those unfamiliar, Kolhapuris are a traditional handmade leather sandal rooted deeply in Indian heritage, especially popular in the state of Maharashtra. So what's the big deal if Kolhapuri Chappals gained international mileage? On the surface, it seems like a celebration of Indian craft, but this is the part most people miss. Hardly anyone outside India would have known the shoe's cultural roots if not for an uproar from the Indian community. Social media erupted, pointing to Prada's complete silence regarding their obvious inspiration. The lack of recognition, let alone collaboration, prompted heated debate. In fact, things escalated so quickly that a delegation from Prada reportedly visited Kolhapur itself, inspecting local workshops, collecting samples and surveying local shops, presumably in response to public and possibly legal scrutiny. Just as the outrage seemed to settle, the saga didn't end there. Surprisingly, some would say predictably, Prada is facing nearly identical backlash again, almost exactly a month later. Now, the spotlight falls on Prada's new antique leather pumps featured on their official website. To any seasoned observer of Indian fashion, the details are impossible to miss. The shoe's flared front flap, the distinctive pointed toe, everything recalls the iconic Punjabi Jutti, another staple of Indian footwear. Fashion lovers and culture critics alike are left scratching their heads. Sure, Prada labels them as pump heels, but the question remains, what exactly makes them antique? Is it a nod to the centuries-old history behind the Jutti, a shoe worn by generations across India, long before European luxury ever took note? Or is it just another marketing ploy, designed to hike up the price with a dash of the exotic? Facing heated backlash, Prada issued a statement earlier this month, as reported by PTI, attempting to clarify their position. They admitted that their controversial sandals drew inspiration from traditional Indian handcrafted footwear. At the same time, Prada was careful to emphasize that the sandals seen on the runway were still only prototypes. None of the items had been finalized for commercial sale, at least not yet. And here's the real question for all of us. Is this an honest oversight, or is Prada knowingly following a pattern of cultural borrowing without due credit? Can a company as influential as Prada claim ignorance when global discourse makes such oversights impossible to ignore? Where do we, as a global audience, draw the ethical line between inspiration and appropriation? Now, if your turn. Do you see this as a serious problem? Or do you believe cultural crossovers in fashion should be celebrated? No strings attached. Drop your thoughts in the comments, especially if you feel strongly one way or the other. Is Prada guilty or just misunderstood? Let's talk about it. Prada scandal. The power of India's troll army and cultural sensitivity. Cultural insensitivity in the fashion world, when luxury brands clash with national pride. Imagine a $10 staple in your wardrobe being replicated by a luxury brand for potentially hundreds of times its original price, sparking outrage across an entire nation. Welcome to the Prada scandal that's got everyone talking. On July 23, 2025, the Italian luxury fashion house, Prada S.p.A., unveiled a new footwear design at Milan Fashion Week that bore an uncanny resemblance to India's beloved Kolhapuri sandals. The online backlash was swift and merciless, laying bare the formidable influence of India's troll army in shaping public discourse. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just about a fashion faux pas. It highlights how deeply international brands can misstep when cultural heritage is involved, especially in a digitally savvy nation like India. With the Indian market being one of the world's fastest growing, the question looms. Are global firms adequately prepared for the potential fallout of such cultural missteps? The Kolhapuri conundrum, a symbol of national pride. Retailing for as little as $10, Kolhapuri sandals are more than just a fashion item in India. They're a cultural icon, found in wardrobes across the subcontinent. The sudden appearance of a similar design on the Prada runway, with its inevitably hefty price tag, was perceived as not just an appropriation, but an affront to Indian heritage. And this is the part most people miss. The rapid escalation of online outrage into a full-blown scandal underscores the significant power wielded by India's digital community. This isn't an isolated incident, but rather a symptom of a broader phenomenon, where online sentiment can dictate the terms of public debate, particularly when the perceived attack is on cultural identity. A warning for global brands, weighing the risks. As the world's eyes are on India's burgeoning market, the Prada scandal serves as a stark reminder for international firms to tread carefully. The risks of cultural insensitivity are real, with the potential to alienate a vast and digitally connected consumer base. The question remains, how will brands balance the pursuit of global trends with the need to respect and understand local cultural sensitivities? Now we want to hear from you. Do you think global brands are doing enough to understand and respect local cultures? Or is this just the tip of the iceberg? Should there be clearer guidelines for cultural appropriation in fashion, or does that stifle creativity? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Cultural appropriation in fashion. The case of Prada and Kolhapuri Chappals. When Prada's Spring-Summer 2026 collection dropped last month, it wasn't just the shoes that made headlines. It was the storm of controversy they ignited. The Italian luxury brand unveiled a line of brown leather sandals with intricate stitching and a distinctive toe loop, sparking immediate comparisons to Kolhapuri Chappals, a centuries-old Indian craft. What began as a fashion moment quickly turned into a global conversation about cultural respect, ownership, and the fine line between inspiration and appropriation. And this is the part most people miss. The debate isn't just about sandals. It's about power, recognition, and the economic value of heritage. Kolhapuri Chappals, handcrafted from buffalo hide and dyed with natural pigments, have been a staple of Indian craftsmanship since the 12th century. Their design, built to endure the Deccan Plateau's harsh terrain, is protected by a geographical indication tag, a legal safeguard ensuring their origin in the western Indian city of Kolhapur. When Prada first described the shoes as generic leather flat sandals, critics rightly pointed out the oversight. But here's where it gets controversial. Was this a case of cultural appreciation or exploitation? And does the label's later apology, acknowledging the Indian influence, erase the initial erasure of artisans who'd perfected this craft for generations? The incident reflects a broader struggle. India's luxury market is booming, projected to grow from $7.73 billion in 2023 to $1.3 billion by 2028. Brands like Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga, and Valentino are opening flagship stores in Mumbai and Delhi, while others collaborate with Indian designers to tap into this lucrative demographic. But as celebrated designer Gaurav Gupta notes, today's Indian consumer isn't just looking for logos, they crave authenticity. You can't open a store in Mumbai and expect to win hearts without understanding the soul of the market, he says. It's about speaking their visual and emotional language. Yet missteps persist. In 2019, Gucci faced backlash for selling a $790 turban, resembling Sikh headwear. And this year, Reformation drew ire for a lehenga-inspired set that many South Asians recognize as a direct lift of traditional Indian attire. H&M too found itself in hot water for a sheer top and trousers mirroring the salwar kameez. These incidents highlight a recurring pattern. Western brands often cherry-pick elements of Indian culture without crediting their roots. As one TikTok user quipped, "My lehenga is not a fashion trend, it's a legacy." But not all collaborations are equal. Dior's 2023 Mumbai runway show, featuring Banarasi brocade and mirrorwork crafted by Mumbai-based atelier Chalakya International, was hailed as a respectful homage. Similarly, Nike's recent tie-dye collaboration with Delhi's Nor Black Nor White was celebrated as a step toward genuine cultural exchange. The difference? These brands didn't just borrow aesthetics. They credited artisans, acknowledged history, and built bridges. Respect isn't performative, argues Imran Ahmed of the Business of Fashion. It's about giving credit where it's due and ensuring economic justice for those who've shaped these traditions. India's role in global fashion extends beyond inspiration. The country's textile and embroidery artisans supply much of the world's luxury industry, yet their work is often labelled of European-made after being assembled abroad. This erasure, as Gupta explains, reduces India to a manufacturing hub rather than a cultural partner. When a brand profits from Indian motifs but denies their origins, he says, it's not just symbolic, it's a theft of dignity and livelihood. So where do we go from here? For every brand that stumbles, there's a movement of Indian designers reclaiming their narrative. From Cardi B's Gaurav Gupta gown at the Grammys to Zendaya's Rahul Mishra sari, global stages are becoming platforms for Indian artistry. But the question lingers, can Western fashion truly evolve without acknowledging its debt to cultures like India's? As the anonymous voice behind Diet Sabia puts it, visibility is a start, but equity is the end goal. Will you stand with us or keep taking from us? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.